I think Verena has a lot of pain and actually a lot of shame, and she compensates by having the exterior of the tough guy, if you will. Her species was a species of sex slaves, of a prostitution ring, basically. And in a sense, she's gone against a society, like someone who comes from a country where their sex is repressed. And so in a sense, she's got a lot of spirit because she's overcome that.
I think it's really good if we can leave people at the end of the season guessing a bit.
New characters play a really valuable role for a writer because they become a good way to further a story arc. Before I write anything, I go back and rewatch a lot of episodes and look for things that loose ends that haven't been tied, things that sort of piqued my interest when I watched them, and I've wondered, well, what could happen with that, a year later or 2 seasons later, and new characters sort of spring up to help tie up those loose ends, and I think we'll see in season 5 the return of a lot of formerly minor characters that began that we've seen in seasons 2, 3, and 4, that really just become the next link in the chain to move the arc forward.
I would like to think that she has a great purpose for being a starship captain and wanting the best from her crew and wanting to oversee the end of conflicts.
I'm glad that we're going to see some more time with Commodore Knapp, who we didn't see as much in season 4 or the last part of season 3. So he's going to come back a couple of episodes where he plays a big role.
There's so much battle. I think I want to see even more human stories. We're doing human stories now. And watching the episodes, I've seen human stories in the past. I really want those because I think the technology is so secondary to everything human, alien, what have you, people interaction.
Everyone likes to see CGI battles and all that. I mean, that's all cool, but you can't have a story alone of ships flying through space, shooting phasers or photon torpedoes at each other. That doesn't make good drama. But I think it's the writing, it's the characters, and it's the directing. And you get all 3 of those together, and everyone's dead on. That makes a great episode of any episodic television or even movies.
Drama is drama. So in that case, I try to approach the stories that I think of or write for Hidden Frontier first as just good dramatic stories, and the fact that they're set in a science fiction universe with things like phaser beams and photon torpedoes are really secondary, and I don't have to fix it in this episode. I can show how it actually develops over time, which is how most of us actually deal with problems in our own lives. And so I think it makes the characters more believable, more real, and more compelling for the audience.
I think that multi-part stories tend to be more popular because people like that sense of continuity. There's a big difference between TV episodes and movies, and the biggest difference is that movies tend to be driven by plots, and TV episodes tend to be driven by characters. When we have a multi-plot story, it allows you to get more inside of the character. If everything wraps up nice and neatly in a half hour, then you have a lot of plot, but you don't get to see a lot of the character. But when you have things spread over more than one part, then you can't help but get into the character more. And I think that's what people want. They want to get to know these people.
Characters are better played when they evolve slowly. And when you think about them, when you think about a character as already being inside you, rather than jumping into the skin of another character, I think it's more organic and it's more honest.
I know my limitations. I am not a particularly good actor. I know there are people out there that feel that being professional automatically makes you good and being amateur automatically makes you bad, and that does not follow. but for the most part, it's at least as fun as it was when it started, and maybe a little more so. When I first started, I didn't know the first thing about makeup, and I was stuck with this plastic pig nose. Now, because I didn't like one item of makeup, I self-taught myself to be a halfway decent makeup artist.
I think what we want people to come away with from watching Hidden Frontier is the sense that every person can make a difference, that every person can make this universe a better place to be, and that we can go into space with a sense of optimism that we can take on new challenges and we can take on explorations. I think also, too, Hidden Frontier, probably more so right now than Enterprise or other Star Trek shows of recent years, has emphasized trying to look at things from another point of view.
And I think that's what this show has been able to address lately. And I hope we do more. And I hope we can really get people to think outside of their little square box.
Any Star Trek fan, I said in my blog, in fact, that, there's the dream come true department. Anyone who's a writer and a Star Trek fan always wishes that they could write an episode of Star Trek. And for me, this was my dream come true, to see words that I wrote actually acted out and appearing on screen, complete with phaser blasts and transporter beams and all those things. So if I died tomorrow, I'd die a happy man.
One of those things that if you really like to do, you can consider it a hobby, you can consider it a stepping stone for a career. But if you're dedicated to it, you can make time for anything.
I think just creating something is rewarding in itself. That joy of seeing something come together, and then when you sit down, you watch the videotape. That makes the whole thing worthwhile. So we're not getting rich. Who cares? We're getting to put together a great story with great characters, and then seeing how that all comes together is a lot of fun.
Everyone has their own style, and it's wonderful to watch people direct, or to be directed as an amateur actor, even from someone who is going through the motions of learning, or to someone who is just like me, having fun, and hopefully getting a written document onto the camera and out to the audience, and having everyone go, I like that. That was great. It was cool. I understood that. I think that's the fun part.
I think that probably the most rewarding aspect of working on Hidden Frontier is getting to be a kid and pretending you're in outer space and being in this big playground, and the people make it fun. I mean, I really enjoy, playing around and working around with the people from Hidden Frontier. We're a very professional bunch, and we get the job done, and we're serious about the quality of the work. But at the same time, we make time to goof around a bit and to joke and laugh, and it really, it feels like a lot of fun. It feels like playing. It feels like being kids.